Um, yeah, a lot of young guys in there today, and against a very experienced Stormers team. So yeah, like as in we're really pleased with the effort. Like we're disappointed, because you're in it to try and win the games, similar to last week. But like there's lots of pleasing characteristics, which is good. Um, and it's something to build on for a lot of those young guys as well. So like it makes an experience, guys coming in. We had two academy hookers say made their debuts last week, and in against two more Springboks front rowers. Obviously in Kitchoff and Malherbe. So. And yeah, they're dangerous team, Stormers. Some great pace steppers, guys that have the ability to keep the ball alive. So for a number of our younger backs as well, like that's a great experience for them. Last week we were exposed a bit against Sharks, and like we were exposed in certain facets of the game today as well. But at least the spirit of the fight was good, and we made the decision, like it's to blood some of those younger guys over here, and they've acquitted themselves well, I think. They were the Sharks game in particular last week. Like we're on the try line at the end, and we could have eased that another penalty there at the end of the game for a couple of different infringements that were there, which would give us another shot at. So there was a few composure moments, and even in the game today, there was a few bits of composure where we don't quite nail our execution, particularly off some of our launch plays. But that's a lot to do with the pressure that Stormers put on us as well. So anyway, overall, like we've got a couple of losing bonus points from the last 2 weeks, and in terms of where that keeps us in the league table, like we're in a reasonable position. So from what I understand, we need to get the maths book out to be for sure, but I think that at least it keeps us at first now. So with a game to go, so a huge amount of effort has gone in over the course of the season with some international players that come and go because of the international windows, and a lot of young players at different stages, and there's sort of a core group of senior guys that have led the group well. And probably the one that stands out most of all is Rhys Ruddock, that has led the team for the last couple of weeks, and he's been outstanding in particular. Taking a lot of those young guys under his wing, and you're far away from home, but they've managed the couple of weeks well, got the balance right between having a bit of fun and working hard in the training field as well.
Leo, would you say that it's been a successful turn in the context of that, just getting those 2 points? As someone said to you before, so you have 2 points in your top half, would that be mission accomplished for you?
Well, that's the big thing. Like it's even though I don't like that idea of kicking the ball out at the end to lose a game when you have a chance to go for a draw. Like that's the pointy end of professional sport, isn't it? It's getting yourself doing what you need to do to get through to the next round, so to speak. And that was the big mission, really, is trying to get the number 1 seed. After these couple of weeks, and the lads have managed to do that. So we had a chance to nail it at the end of the game last week against Sharks, and we were frustrated with ourselves that we couldn't quite deliver that. But yeah, anyway, got the job done today. So as we said, it's mission accomplished to a certain extent for sure. Yeah.
And then just, Leo, I just want to say is you must be very happy with the depth you guys have, because this is a Leinster B side, and you guys have basically come to South Africa with the second side, and you pushed out of probably our 2 best franchises in South Africa. So what kind of positives can you take from this?
Well, time will tell, because it's a lot of young guys, and they get themselves up because it's such a big, there's the fear factor that comes here, the sense of the unknown, the quality of the opposition. So there's a lot of things for young players to process. So some of the more experienced guys, Ed Byrne took over his captaincy there as well today. Scott Penny, he's played a lot of games, even though Scott's young, he's played a lot of games. So for those guys, leading some of the younger guys has been a very important part of their progression, if you understand me. And then for the younger guys, just experiencing what it's all about for the first time. So the travel and all the rest, and you become familiar over time with things. You would hope it becomes easier. I'm not sure. I think the teams are going to get stronger and stronger down here, is my sense. And the big thing from Leinster's, speaking on behalf of the club, we're unbelievably excited with the arrival of the 4 South African teams, the big 4 as we call them. because it's a real shot in the arm, I think, for the tournament. And we're going to have hopefully some great battles over the next number of years. And whether that's, whether the Stormers send at some point, like them, know they have a lot of good young talent here as well. I've watched some of the Varsity Cup on TV over the last 10 days as well. So there's a rich reservoir of talent here. And yeah, like we're really excited about what the future holds for this tournament, because I've grown up watching Super Rugby, and you always wonder like what would it be like for Leinster to play against some of these Super Rugby teams, and now we're doing it. It's amazing, like we had a lot of fear and trepidation, I think, for round one when we played against the Bulls in the Aviva, because we just watched the Bulls win the Curry Cup, and we know Jake is a wily old coach as well, a few tricks up his sleeve always. So like we've just a huge amount of excitement for the future of this tournament, because of the quality of what you guys have done here, and you see it like the super sport and rugby. It's 24/7. Like it's all around you. People are constantly interested in the team and the games, and so and obviously we'll be heading into this playoff sequence now as well. And obviously we've aimed for number one seed to protect home comforts, but like it doesn't guarantee anything. It just means we have one game at home in the quarterfinal, so you got to win the games from there. But whoever we play, like it's obviously looks like there'll be a fair old South African flavour in the last eight. So again, there's some great battles ahead. So yeah, no, I can't speak highly enough of in terms of quality of the teams that you guys have down here.
Leo, you spoke about the youngsters that's done well in the past 2 weeks. With the playoffs coming up, which is looming on the horizon, do you think there's any of the youngsters in your team who can push the more senior players to starting spot? Yeah,
no, definitely, yeah. Like, and that's the thing, like because you're entering in a stage, and what it's like. There's injuries. We had two hookers pull out. I know Stormers, in an example, have a similar sort of issue with the hooker, where they have a number of guys out injured. They're drafting somebody in from outside. We generally don't have that luxury. So like it's from within the group that we have. So everyone just in our group, particularly, like everyone needs to be ready. For what's ahead. Obviously everyone knows we kept some players behind to get ready for a game. Some of the guys that were here will feature in that match day group that will go to Welford Road. We're travelling to England next Friday for the game on Saturday. So again, it's dust ourselves off here, get on the flight, get back, recover, and look after our bodies as best we can. That's not just the players, the staff as well. Reacquaint with families and all the rest. Get back to work and get ready. Put in a new plan for Leicester Tigers, which is a knockout game, quarter-final of Europe. So it's an amazing challenge for us as a group. We knew this block would test us. So in many ways, this has been a great opportunity for us for build that depth for the what-if scenario. So what if we lose a senior player in this position? So we've had guys that are ready if they need to step in now. It's an important piece for us as a club.
Cool. Any last questions from the room, guys? Were you happy? Okay, we can go over to Zoom. I see Nathan, you got your hand up. Go for it, Nathan.
Thanks, Mike. Coach, can you just comment on the team's performance in the first and second half, respectively?
Yeah, we had a few chances in the first half. Well, Stormers had some chances as well. A couple of tight calls where we get done for sealing off, at the back of the maul, and a few key positions which really cost us both ends of the field, which built some pressure on us. Stormers against a young team, there was going to be moments where that power game told against some of our younger, inexperienced guys. But we dug in well. Obviously, had the lead at half time. Just didn't manage that. Whatever it is, that 10 minutes after half time, obviously we give up a try, give up a guy to the bin as well, and then it's difficult. Then we lose another guy to the bin, and we've our 15 playing 9, and we came up with a couple of cheap turnovers at different stages when we're down to 14 men. Again, piling more pressure on ourselves. So that's probably the big learning, just how you can control the momentum of the game a little bit better at different stages. But again, that's a lot to do with the pressure Stormers put on us as well, because they've a lot of quality players out there, and they made it pay at different stages as well. So it's a losing bones point, and yeah, it's it's hard watching the young players when you're in the box. It's like you really want them to do well, but there's naturally going to be errors, as you can appreciate. So it's far from the perfect performance, but that's where they'll grow in the future, hopefully.
You mentioned the threats the Stormers have, but I'm sure obviously before the game you've obviously identified these threats, especially the outside backs of the Stormers. You did relatively well in nullifying these threats.
Yeah. You saw Stormers last week against Glasgow, where they kept the ball alive on a number of occasions, and they made some significant line breaks and cut Glasgow to shreds at different stages. Really, they got us at the very start of the game down the sideline, nearly in for tries straight out in the first minute of the game. But after that, we managed to solve it a little bit better after that. So. The players were well aware of it going into the game, but one thing obviously being aware of it, but trying to put a plan in place to deal with some of that threat as well. But overall now defensively, I thought the guys handled some of those threats pretty well.
And then my final question, the last round of the Euro, you face your rivals Munster.
Yep, we sure do. And they're in Europe as well, so they've a big game against Toulouse in the Aviva Stadium. We're heading away, so Munster are in the Aviva in Dublin for their home game. We're heading away to Welford Road, club where I used to play many moons ago, so we'll see where both teams sit after that. So if we were both to win, then we'd go head to head and we'd have a double header then, so in two different competitions, which would be unusual. But I'm sure Leicester and Toulouse have different ideas about that. So two teams with huge traditions in the tournament. So as well, Toulouse 5-time winners, and Leicester Tigers have won the tournament a few times as well. So the games in Europe, and you guys will experience this, I think, very very soon. Some of the great clubs in Europe, in England and France, and the traditions that those teams have, and how special a tournament it is, the European Cup is as well. I'm not sure what they call it with the European Cup with the South African teams, but it's the Champions Cup is probably the word, isn't it? So that's a hugely exciting prospect to see how you guys go against some of the best teams in Europe, and certainly obviously the games I'm talking about, Munster played Toulouse. They've had a great rivalry in the competition, and obviously us against Leicester as well, which hopefully will be two good games, two good battles.
Right, good. Are there any other final questions or statements that anyone has? Great.